Okay, so I'm gonna do a couple of things. First, I'm gonna show you a Nearpod and walk you through one really quickly. That won't take very long. And then, so that you can at least see what it's like from a student's perspective. And then what I'm gonna do on the screen is project what my screen looks like. Because it looks different from a teacher perspective than it does from a student perspective. And then after we go through one, I'm just gonna help you make some and show you where to find like a library of them. And they're grade appropriate, already made. Or you can make your own, like there's other options. So we're gonna do both of those things. So first, I don't know what your screens look like right now, but you need to go to, just go type in nearpod.com again.
Yeah.
So that it's the home page, because you're going to type in a code. And when you do this with your students, there are two options. But the easiest one is to do a teacher-led. So there should be a box somewhere on the page that says code.
It's a little white box.
Just enter the code.
Join a lesson.
Yeah.
Join a lesson and then enter code. And this is the code. It should capitalize it all for you, so you don't have to capitalize it, it just does it. So just type that, and then it's going to ask you for your name.
Oh.
It only took me like a half hour to figure out how to get my book together, but don't worry.
It was well.
It was well worth it, question mark. Okay, so please use your real name. Don't make up a silly name. These are things you will have to tell your students. Maybe. All right, are we all in? Put your finger on your nose if you are in the lesson and you see Mrs. Lysinga's Bitmoji. Perfect. Okay. So, who can tell me what a Nearpod is? Does anyone already know what a Nearpod is? I know Lori's used them.
I used it before.
So what is it?
It's just like you're having a lesson, but it's more interactive and you can show what the kids are doing and they can work on the lesson with you.
Yep.
And then you can show their work
Yep.
up on the screen and like look at it together.
Yes, very good. Do you have any more to add to that?
I like it because it has short little quizzes and it shows what they're comprehending like immediately.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I like to think of it as like a slideshow, but that they get to interact with. So I'll tell you where I use it later, but I would just like today for you to be able to creatively design your own and just kind of understand what it is. So that's my goal for today. So the first, there are a bunch of activities that you can put into a Nearpod, and one is draw it, and some ways that I've used this is like when we were talking about the regions of California. I put a map of California on a draw it, and I told them like, put a star where the capital is, which you're going to do in a second, or draw the 4 regions, like label the 4 regions. And you're not going to do that, don't worry. So do you see how your screen looks just like my screen so far? Okay. So now, a draw, it says, draw a purple, do you see that? What does yours look like?
Time to draw it.
Time to draw. Okay, so you're going to draw, ooh, it's a
Oh my goodness, this is intense.
typing. Okay, so you're gonna, there should be a map of California,
Yep.
and you can, I think it says to put a purple star where the capital is. So down at the bottom, there's some tools. Purple.
There is no.
Whoa.
Yeah, on the little highlighter
Come
one.
on, guys.
So where's purple?
There's purple.
There's an option on the highlighter
On the
one.
highlighter.
Okay,
Yeah.
you can pick a different, the
Get
color
it.
isn't super.
I got
important.
it.
Got it.
Oh, I don't know.
So you're putting a star where the capital is, and a green dot where your favorite city
I did a
is.
huge star. It's a little low. It's in Northern California.
Okay, can I hold yours up?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you look up here, you can't really see the whole map. I can't show you on my screen. But you can't really see the whole map. So if you want to see the whole map, there is a blue little arrow in the corner. And that makes the question go away, and then the whole map is there now. Does that make sense? And then if you want it back, you You just push that blue arrow again.
I do not know.
I missed that.
You already did it,
Oh.
so.
It
You were
just
actually,
went lower than I thought. That's okay.
yeah, so
If I
then
wanted to
this,
fix it, then what do I do? If I wanna
Oh,
change
I
it
have
to
to
just
the-
hit the back button.
Oh, yeah,
Yep.
submit.
And then that fixes it.
I really hope
It's a
that.
little.
Okay, so do you see on my teacher screen, I can see who's all doing it, right?
Like,
It's all
I'm
right.
kind of worried
Worried about what?
that I chose the wrong spot for Sacramento.
I don't know if I did.
I
You
did a
guys-
big star to give myself some more wiggle room.
It's all good. So, as you can see from a student perspective, you can't see anyone else's,
Right.
right? So this is just from the teacher, I'm showing you the teacher perspective. So now if I wanted to, I could say, here everyone, look at Leslie's, and now look on your screen.
And they don't see the name, so.
They won't see the name, but I know. And so you can see that not only is her favorite city Sacramento, but it's also the capital, possibly. And now I will unshare that. And I can pick
It's funny.
Angela. Okay, so would
I
anyone
didn't do
else,
the green
now that
one.
you can see this person's, who can guess what this person's favorite city is?
Slow, maybe?
No, I don't know if it's Anaheim.
Oh, Disneyland.
Okay, good.
Oh, yes,
So-
it is.
All right, so that's a draw it, and that had a background. So I chose an image, which I'm going to show you how to do, and I put that on the background, and then the kids can draw on the image. So you can do that with all sorts of images. Now what we're going to do is, good luck. This is one example of what I did with my students just last week. I put a multiplication problem, 27 times 22.
Oh.
Whoa, I'm drawing some
And then
numbers.
so the student Chromebooks or iPads are touch screens. So they can write right on the screen. So it's easier than what you guys are doing.
I'm going for it, baby.
You don't, okay, calculators, cheaters.
7 times 2 is
Whoa,
14.
where'd you go?
Carry the 1, write the 4.
Got it.
Man.
14.
Show your work, please, Angela.
I'm trying. 14, 15.
Picture of my
154.
Whoa, I'm wrong.
And you can see that I also put a timer on the questions. So you only get 2 minutes. You don't have to put a timer on stuff. I just.
Oh, we got the same one, we're good.
I ran out of room too.
Yeah.
I was like, I ran out of room too.
Too low. Is there a do-over?
4.
There is a do-over. You can hit the
Answer.
edit answer, or there's like a back arrow.
So you're expecting,
Yeah, what?
you're expecting kids to draw it out, not use like the number pad, right?
Right.
Okay.
Do they do the
I am
Chromebooks,
here
are
for
they
this.
touchscreen?
Yes.
Oh, so they can just do it on there.
Very good.
Very good job.
Fine.
Okay, so you can see that Angela
Oh,
cheated.
Oh dear,
This is our example of what not to do in 4th grade.
Oh, I didn't realize.
Okay, but then we
Oh,
also
okay.
have,
Oh, bad attitude over there. Sticking out his tongue.
we also have Lori here who carried her 1 and did her magic 0, and it's all correct. Good job. So, all right.
Mine's a mess. I'm missing my post. Mine was a hot mess.
Okay,
I
so
got it right here.
this is another slide. I'm not sure what it's thinking about. Oh, who's ready for a pop quiz? So this is also, you can have a quiz option. So you guys can go ahead and start your quiz. And on my screen, you can see that I will be able to tell who's getting them correct. So it has all your names, and there's only 3 questions, so it'll show up in red if you get it wrong. On my screen, you won't know. And then,
Ooh, that second question was tricky.
what was it? I don't
Your name spelling.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
I got one right, I'm sure. I thought
Question 3.
What? Why did
Favorite
Your
subject.
favorite subject.
Why that small?
I got there. Oh,
Look at 2 out of 3, sorry.
Obviously.
Ooh, you're tricky.
Okay, so then this is just for fun. This is teacher perspective, so you can see like, okay, I need to readdress this with a few students, and
You like science?
Dan apparently knows me quite well, and so does Courtney. Good guessing! Okay, so you can kind of see everyone's results, and like, I always do it like, if there's like 50% or more that are incorrect, I'm like, that's probably on me, right? That something wasn't taught well. And so you can kind of see the pie chart. This is all of the answers. Oops, sorry. Okay, and then there's also a fill in the blank. I'm here for the what? And then this is what it looks like on my screen, so I'm giving you the answers. And then on your screen, you drag the right ones into the blanks. So I have done this for like a memory verse review, or I don't do it for a test. This would just be like a review fun thing. But and on the iPad or the Chromebooks, you can push on the thing and just pull it up on the screens. So it's a little easier than what you're doing on your Chromebook.
Once I get mid-screen, it just bounces.
Yeah, if you like drop it, it will.
You have to drop it closer to the white box.
That's awesome.
That's a really
Hold
good
it,
grade.
like I hold it with one finger to drag it with the other.
That's great.
The problem is it gives you all like the right answers.
Yeah, that's true.
So the thing that I don't like about it is you can't put like random answers in the bottom. You know, like it gives you all the answers. You just have to put them in the right spots.
Can you fill in the blank or not?
This is their fill in the
It's not
blank.
you.
So in order for them to be able to grade it, right, then. Okay, are we good? So now there's also a poll that you can kind of use as like an exit ticket, like how are you feeling about something? So I think you get to choose, it doesn't matter, just click whatever one. And then I have no idea what I'm doing, I feel okay, I feel great, show me how to make one, let's get over this whole showing me it thing. So. You can kind of take like a poll of your students, and you can do it with anything. I mean, this is just. So I'm gonna move you on. Sorry. And then there's also open-ended where they would type answers. I would say this is not going to be for lower grades, but I think there is a voice where they can record, like and then it types it for them. I think on the iPad it does that. But this would be for like 4th and 3rd graders. Can you think of any subject? So you don't have to type this, but can anyone think of like examples of where you would use this right now?
Social studies.
Social studies, we use it a lot in social studies and science.
I used it in math when I didn't have a lot of stuff. It was more engaging.
Yeah. I've used it for like centers where I'll make one on what I've taught, and then there is a student pace option where you're not pushing the buttons constantly to move them on, but that's a little bit trickier for younger kids, so it would be something you would have to practice the teacher-led quite a few times before you're just like, here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you don't have to take anything.
Is it, like, friendly for like our little readers to read? Like, if there's things that they have to read, or it's all like driven by teacher, like, or the centers, can they listen to instructions from you?
So, that's
You
a
know,
good
like
question.
when we do like a QR code, they like scan the story and listen to it, and then they scan the directions and they listen to the directions.
Okay, so you can insert videos, like
I would
YouTube.
video myself
Right,
giving the instructions, and then you would just have to, okay.
Correct. And there's also like a extension that has like just a voice recording. And so you could also like input an MP3 as a file, which it would just be like a audio. Thank you for that word that I couldn't think of. So it would be, I have never done that, but it would be something to look into. Okay, so There are reports then that you get, and you can check for understanding, you can take a grade. I've actually taken a grade on the quiz parts, like, I'll do one that is for social studies, so one slide will say like read pages blah blah blah, and then it'll give like a 3-question quiz. And then the next slide might be a video about the gold rush, and then it'll be like a 2 or 3 question comprehension quiz on it. And then I'll say, okay, and then read this last page, and then take one more question. And then I take a grade on those multiple choice parts, because it's checking for understanding. So, not like a quiz grade, but like a homework grade. So,
Au revoir.
okay, so what I'd like to do now is show you how to find one that's already made, and then after that we're gonna show you how to quick make one. So they're not hard to make, it's very self-explanatory in a way, but there are like weird buttons that are here and there. So let me see what we're
Exit.
looking
The
at.
arrow
here.
down on the right and then say exit and then you can get
Yeah.
rid of it.
Arrow down, exit, and then you should go to your Nearpod, which would be like if you're at home, at your home. Okay, yes, I'm leaving. Thank you. All right, so yours might look like this. Yes?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, ish.
Ish.
Yeah, we don't have anything created.
Right. Okay, so if you want to create a brand new one, you would go up to the plus button. But what I would like to show you first is the Nearpod lesson library. So it's over here. So you're going to click on the Nearpod lesson library. And then up here, there is a Nearpod. So this is all the Nearpods that are shared publicly. So if you can think of like a topic that you're teaching right now would be the most helpful.
Nothing.
And then you can kind of click over here, subject areas and grade levels, that's important.
Yeah.
Becca, where did you go to? Oh, never mind. Got it.
Hold on, pumpkin. Right, you gotta click, you gotta jump. Hi, we have awesome pumpkins.
I'm guessing there are some that are, they don't cost, some, like,
Yeah, a lot of them, they don't cost anything.
Is
There are many,
free?
there are many that are free, and then we have a certain number of teacher licenses at the school
Yeah.
for like Nearpod Plus, where it basically gives you everything.
where's that tricky turkey site where it's
I'm like thinking we're learning about pumpkins, but there's not any pumpkins.
Okay, so backspace that. Let's go to kindergarten first. See, like maybe just scroll through the ones that are free in kindergarten.
That's fine.
This one's good for
Yeah,
beginning
that's
year.
perfect.
You write in your,
I thought pumpkins would be pretty.
you have to write in the letters.
in this bundle.
Oh,
you clicked on a specific bundle.
Mhm.
Okay, so you can go back.
So then, Becca, like, I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
So I just found one, a subtraction one, and then I would just go through it as a class with them and
Yes.
just read it. Because that's our goal right now, because
Is the reading, yeah.
that's the reading part.
So you could, do they all have an individual device? Okay, so then you'll just put that on each screen, and then you'll tell them, okay, let's count the circles, let's write what number that is with your finger, right? And then they can write.
Life skills for kindergarten.
So,
Well, it's not touchscreen.
I was like, do that when you said that to me. I was crying.
iPads are touch, like you would touch
Oh,
the
I was
screen.
crying. Lisa, I was just like, oh yeah, totally do it. I'm like,
Yeah, can I touch the
yeah,
screen?
show it to
That's
the
like
people.
all I do
They
on
get
iPad.
paid
Yeah.
enough for this.
Yes.
No keyboard.
There's no keyboard, right.
Show it to
Hello,
them.
sorry.
It's okay.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Okay, so once you get one that's like interesting to you, now which one was that? Can I use that one?
Sure, it's called Let's Add and Subtract, I think. Let me see. Let's Add and Subtract by Mara Mallory
This
Delgado.
one's cute. This is like all about
Delgado,
fun
sorry.
and invention.
Let's just do this.
Operations and Algebraic Thinking.
Why did mine all look so like?
Yeah, it's that lady. was the first one that
Hey,
came up.
fact families. That's a good one too.
Go down a little bit, go down.
Alright, I'll just do this one. Okay, so once you get one that looks interesting, if you click on it, it's gonna take you to like a preview of the lesson. And then if you want to use it, but you don't want to use all the things that it has in it, you can delete a lot of the stuff or whatever. So like if I'm previewing this, I'm like, oh, I wouldn't want that slide on there. And probably this slide is like, oh, I don't really need to tell them. But this one's good. So then what I would do is down here at the bottom, you would push add to my library. And then what that's gonna do is make it like editable.
Oh, okay.
So then you can kind of change it.
Ooh, I
And
also.
then if you wanna share it with your teacher friends, you can click share.
Could
But-
they use?
So now it's in my library, so I'm gonna go back to my home.
Oh, I guess that's true.
Do we like
And
have a
now see it's
budget?
here, so then I can edit. See the edit?
Yep, it's unlimited.
Well then.
Becca, when it says get spooky, do I
That's just an
click
ad.
on that or not?
No, it's just an
This,
ad.
like that
Oh.
I
Go
can.
back to like the
Get to that
sidebar.
Okay, so if you wanna keep the original, you would duplicate it so that you have the original and the one that you want, but if you just wanna change it and you don't care about the original, then you just push edit.
Oh, a brain break.
And don't worry, you're not changing that ladies lesson, you're just, it made a copy for you, so you don't have to worry about that. It's,
Oh, that's good to
and
know.
so now, see, here's all the slides of this lady's
For
lesson.
that one lesson.
And then that
For this
would be
one
on
lesson,
the
and these
one
are
that-
all, see the pencil, that means that they're drawings. So that means that the students will be writing on the screen, which I think is best in kindergarten and first and maybe even second grade, that would be your best
Gender
option.
stereotypes in the media.
And then like say you don't like a problem, you can click on the slide,
For
or
kindergarten.
2-finger tap and delete it.
Oh.
So up here, like I wouldn't want her personal information, so I would 2-finger tap, delete that. Yes, I want to delete that.
Oh.
Okay? I also don't need to know what standards I'm covering.
I just saw gender bias in the media.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
None of the people were in the way of you.
and then you don't have to do anything afterwards, it's just all saved.
So down here it says save and exit,
Oh.
so you will want to save it.
How do you
Definitely.
Your emotion.
When I saved my library, then I don't see where it went.
You have to hit the home button in the top left, and then it should be your next
Ah, beautiful.
Okay, so I have a question.
Yes.
So to get like the kindergartners on
Yeah.
this, I would have to type in Nearpod on all my iPads and like get them going, or is there like a shortcut? But there's an app.
There should, there's an app.
Okay, okay, because we don't have it on there right now.
Right.
And then they would just tap it open.
It should have just the code box then, and then you would just have them type the code, or
Yeah.
Just type the code and then.
so I've done it in groups. When we didn't have Chromebooks for everyone, I did like groups of 3 and then they would
Sure.
take turns.
Mhm.
And so then you would only have to do what, like
Sure.
15?
That's a good way to practice.
But then the kids type their code in, just like we did, but then they'd also have to type their name in.
Or I do initials, I've done
Yeah.
initials, just
Initials.
2 letters.
But each time I do it, it's not like, because right now.
It does save it.
Oh, it does. So if I,
So on
because
the
if they have their own
devices.
personal iPad, I can set it up that every time it's
I
that
believe
person.
so. You would have to ask Ben that question, because
Okay.
I don't have iPads.
Okay,
Sorry.
I was just curious how the
Oh,
logistics.
Yes,
If I would purchase one,
yes.
can I share it with my other team, or is it
Once
her?
it's yours, it's like teachers pay teachers. Once it's yours, it's yours.
And that's legal?
Yeah, I believe so.
So.
Teachers, we have teachers we can't share.
Right.
Okay, do you want me to show you how to make your own really fast?
Sure.
Yes, no?
Yes.
Or do you want to just putz around?
No.
It's your
No,
call.
let's try it, let's try it.
Okay, so let's go back to home.
I'm gonna make a pumpkin one.
Becca, really quick, when you added to your library and then you went back to home and you looked at it and then when you said, when it says edit lesson and duplicate lesson, did you have to duplicate it or?
We felt our ribs.
You just said you went to edit right then, okay. Why would you do
I'm
that?
married to a guy.
That's if you wanted to keep the original the way it is and have another one that's shorter. Like if you wanted both options.
Now I get it. Okay, thanks.
Like,
Is
you
that
have
code,
rights
Becca,
too.
is that a
And here,
universal
these
one
are
that we
rights
all
too.
use?
And then you have a floating red.
The code that I showed you at the beginning, every time you do a lesson, it's gonna generate a new code for just that lesson.
Okay.
Okay, so let's make a new one.
Like a math test,
Okay.
or it's a new code every time.
Ready?
Yep.
Okay. Plus button, top right, click. It's going to give you some options. Let's just make a lesson in Nearpod. So go ahead and click that. Top right, and then there should be like a thing that kind of scrolls down. What's that called? Okay. So, I'm gonna sit. Alright, I'm not sure what would be the most helpful, but this is how I would do it. So I would first make a welcome slide, like this is what my lesson is about. So I'm gonna push add slide, the big blue button. Now I'm going to add content, because content is gonna be like a slide. Activity, you're looking at the draw its and the quizzes and the polls. So I don't wanna start with that, I just wanna like welcome them to it. So add content, and now it gives me lots of options. So, yeah,
Oh, wow.
yes, I know, and there's more.
Good grief.
You can do it in video.
We could do a video.
You could welcome them with a video.
You could do, add your video in. not
Yeah.
So,
you talk.
I'm just gonna make a welcome slide.
Okay.
It's like a little-
So I'm gonna push slide.
Hey.
We'll put a video in.
Slide show or
If you
slide?
come to
Just
observe, I'm just
slide.
gonna be
I thought it said slideshow. Oh, slide, regular slide. Okay.
Regular
Okay.
slide. Okay, so now you have some options of themes that you can choose to make it look fancy. And then every slide you input will have the same colors, and you don't have to worry about that. So a theme is a good option to keep it all consistent.
The first one.
I like the screen one. Okay, click to add title.
our
I'm
friends.
just gonna make this really fast. Anyone have an idea for me?
Frog life cycle.
Fraud, life, cycle, I love it. Alright. If I'm going too fast, just give me like a ah! And then I'll slow down. Okay, so there's this plus button. So I'm gonna push that, and I would just probably, I could insert a video about the frog life cycle right here. I could put an image of a froggy. I could put a GIF, that's the like little videos that are kind of silly of
Let's do that.
of a froggy. Okay, so I don't know what there is, so frog. Cute. Looks like none of these are. Oh, look. Here, this is a great one. Oh, this poor
I'm
little
gonna
frog.
find a pumpkin.
It's all from a Disney movie.
So,
Perfect.
so just for fun,
That's
I just said web content, it says, well, this is part, web content is premium feature, good for 30 days, starts today.
So I'm one of the like ones that have one of the license through CDC, and so if you end up really loving Nearpod and using it a lot, tell Ben, and he'll get you a license for it, and then all of that stuff will just come with it.
Got it.
So I'm not sure.
Trying to get stuff from the internet.
Oh, I must have a license then, so I can do it.
I don't know what.
It's
I've done
okay.
it a few
So
times.
okay, I'll try it again. So add web content.
Okay, so. Did
Now
you
it
have a
didn't- now it
slide
didn't.
already?
I made
Okay, so
I just did it last year.
let's. Oh, do you don't want a picture on this guy?
I was gonna try to.
Okay,
So then I have to have that open.
Let's just change the layout so that you have a couple options for things. So then you can do it here
Oh, got it,
and do an image like
image.
that.
Got
I can see it throwing this
Have you
up
drawn
on
an
the
image on it or not?
Yeah.
Don't know.
Okay.
Okay, and then I am going to save this slide because I love it and it's perfect. Okay.
It's kind of like a Google slide feel.
It is very much, the only major major difference is that you can have the quizzes and the drawing and they can interact with it. That's the major difference. And I think that's a huge difference because, yeah, it allows them to own it. Because if I'm just projecting something on my screen, they're like, "Wah," right? But if you are allowing them to draw on it and allowing them.
It's an interactive versus Google Slides a presentation.
Right, exactly. Okay, so now you can go add slide here, or if you want to make sure that it's like right next to it, you just click right next to that slide. Add slide, and now you have two options. You can add a content, or you can add an activity. The activities you're looking, oh, right on.
If you add an activity, you can still do instructions on the activity, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you wanted to do a quiz or a draw it, I think I'm gonna add a video first about frogs because.
I should learn about it first. Let's go back.
And the thing about the videos is you can choose to put the video up on your screen only, or you can choose to have them each watch it individually.
30 days.
From egg to frog in 7 weeks. Ooh, this looks video for kids. That's a good one. It's got cartoon frogs.
This might be great for a lesson, let's say if you have a sub.
Yes. The problem is a lot of subs are very terrified of technology. So,
Yeah.
like
Like students.
yeah. But I do think you're right because it gives them ownership of their own learning in a
Would
lot
I
of
have to leave the sub then with my computer
Mhm.
for them to log in?
Or an iPad with your stuff on it, like your
Well,
iPad.
Right.
Won't it be on like the sub Chromebook or not, or does it?
I don't think all the subs get a Chromebook.
Oh,
All right, add a slide. So then you can just kind of play around with it now and draw it. So I can say, this is where my instructions would go.
is that what you're supposed to do?
Oh, I'm going too fast. Okay,
Forgot.
cancel. I thought you were yelling at me for checking my phone. I was like, my children! Okay, so we're back at this.
Yeah,
All right, and then we're clicking next to the slide again.
yeah.
And then we're going add a slide.
Or was it a draw you read?
Well, so you add a slide.
Okay,
and
got
then
it.
you add a activity.
Got
Is
it.
where draw it would be.
I just picked one. I don't know what it's about.
Okay, so would it be most helpful if I just walked around and helped and you guys did your own thing at this point?
Sure.
How
Yes,
can
go.
how can
Okay.
we preview these videos?
So you'd have to go to YouTube to do that.
Because it's all through YouTube.
Yeah.
How come I can't find
So if you open up,
So separate window, copy the URL, put it in.
I tried that and I couldn't get my
Maybe I'm having a problem finding.
so I usually look on
No, it's
YouTube
like a
first and then I kind of search what the title is. Yeah, I mean, I'm practicing.
We're all there. But I have a random, probably me like, because I feel like.
Oh, to like point to it?
Where it's cute.
Activity should be something like,
Whereas the others I saw were cute.
Well, the fill in the blank, you have an option.
I can mess with it more.
Yeah, I don't know. It is all over you, right?
Yeah, I just wouldn't mind if it was colored or something.
I know, just even like an orange.
Yeah.
can you draw on your image or a contraction, a point to something?
What would I ask them to do?
I mean, I can tell, like, you can, but it's like a process. But, and it's not in Nearpod.
You know what I
You would have to go to like
Offsite, yeah.
Google Slide, create a drawing.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah.
I do wonder if you could just insert an arrow
Yeah.
though. And you can insert the pumpkin,
Well, this one I put the.
like draw ribs on it or
It's
something.
kind of fun. They have to like draw them.
It's like tracing them.
Yeah.
Preview it?
I'll try that.
It's so fun.
Oh.
Okay.
Because I could probably make it a little more exciting.
Nice. Good job.
Well, that's what I'm running into.
How we doing over here?
Their favorite pumpkins now. I'm way at the bottom where
No,
it
you're
says.
not. That's fine. Do you want me to help you, or do you want to just look at yours?
I
Okay, you got it.
Maybe if we did like a
How are you?
picture of that and then drag
I
and drop
think
the
so.
labels.
So,
I don't know how to do that, but it sounds cool.
huh?
Do something that works.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I was just copying you.
I was just trying to come up with something. So what are we
Okay.
teaching right now?
I'm
Mission
gonna do a quiz, I'm gonna do like
Yeah.
a whole.
or
Shoot,
you just X out of it.
can you go back? No.
No,
You can go to someone else and I'll come up and then I'll.
Ooh, that's a good one. How we doing?
Good, but now I wanna do something that's relevant to me.
Okay,
should we
so-
just delete? I was just kind of.
Yeah. Well, we'll save it so for now.
Gosh, some of those really.
Well, that's what we
I
need.
don't know what's.
I just had a little thing pop
I
up
just,
here.
I just turned the volume down and said, okay, it's your turn, friends, and talk to them. I was like, please select
so
my.
I don't know if she's on, I don't know.
So now-
I just, all of a sudden, I was just like, why do I have?
How are you guys doing? Yeah. That's the easiest way to do it. Yeah. They are fun to make when you sit down and do it. Like, it's fun to do and like have them be your own.
Once you start thinking,
Yeah.
you get more.
Right. And if you have your books in front of you.
I'm writing different, I feel like our students have
Yeah,
more
it's
fun
fun.
word problems for that.
I do it, yeah,
Those
math
problems are
centers.
So confusing,
Yeah.
that I'm like, we need to like figure out what I'm telling you, or what is missing in this